Yeah, that should be interesting.
Leo's gonna freak. Steel guitar player is very particular.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
They don't really have those over there. Not in the UK, at least.
It's a very American thing, right?
Yeah.
All right.
They had him over there, but then he moved to Nashville.
Well, we are 30 seconds away. Here we go.
Okay.
Wade Bowen, he is your TMR 26 headliner on Friday night, June 3rd, downtown McKinney. That is Death, Dying, and Deviled Eggs. 9:05. I'm Chuck Taylor, it's the All-Star Morning Show. Been talking about it all morning. The new album, Neon Blue, just dropped on April 22nd. It is fantastic. We have got Joshua Hedley in studio this morning. Good morning, man.
Good morning.
Good to see you, man.
Oh, man, it's good to be here.
Well, I was telling you as I came in, the first time I got to see you perform live was in Nashville at the Country Music Hall of Fame. They're doing one of those seminars on Tales from the Tour Bus.
Yeah, yeah.
And man, you had on the nudie suit and everything. It just kind of blew us everybody away.
Yeah, that was a wild thing. I was only supposed to sing one song, and I ended up singing like 3 or 4 just to cover the butts of the people who didn't show.
We won't call them out or anything
I
like
won't call them out.
You know, I was sitting on
They know who they are.
the row I was sitting on. Vince Gill was sitting on that row too, and
Oh,
I
really?
watched him when you performed, and he was just enjoying it, loving
That's
it.
awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah,
This is the first I'm hearing.
Yeah, Vince Gill was in the audience that day, and he was just like 3 seats down from me, and just enjoying the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then in Tales for a Tour Bus, we talked about was a great show, and then they kind of went off kilter and did some other genres.
Yeah. I thought they could have just, I've been doing this country music thing for a long time, and I've heard a lot of stories. Most of that Tales from the Tour Bus stuff I already knew.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't watch any of the funk season, but they could have done seasons and seasons.
They could have done
and
decades on country,
music.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you should have a Dolly Parton Tales from the Tour Bus,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, Dolly she's one of the few whose squeaky clean image was more akin to real life as well. Most of those guys were degenerates.
Yeah, true. Speaking of Dolly, it was just announced this morning, she made it on. She got enough votes, and she is now going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on November 5th.
Didn't she say she didn't want it?
She didn't want it, but then she said if she gets voted for, she'll graciously accept. So Dolly's going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Amazing.
Only Dolly Parton, right?
Yeah. Only Dolly Parton could turn down the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in like a 2-year span.
And still get honored with both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. So let's get to know you a little bit, man. Where did you discover your love for classic country? I mean, because you started off, with the first couple of albums doing some really traditional country music.
Yeah, I just sort of, honestly, it's weird. It's sort of, I was kind of born into it. I asked for a fiddle when I was 3.
Wow.
For no particular reason. My parents didn't listen to country music. My mom listened to Neil Diamond. My dad listened to Otis Redding.
But you wanted the fiddle.
And I wanted a fiddle. Yeah, I specifically asked for not a violin, but a fiddle.
Wow.
At 3 years old. And they sort of just were like, yeah. Whatever. You're free. Like, ask again when you're older. And I did. I asked again when I was 8. They got me a fiddle. They put me into classical violin lessons. And my teacher was a woman named Lisa Zeller. And she taught herself fiddle tunes. And then at the end of my classical study, at the end of the lesson, she would teach me a fiddle tune.
Wow.
That she had just taught herself. So the first song that I learned in the the Suzuki method violin method thing was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and that same day I also learned violin cabbages down.
At 8 years old.
At 8 years old.
Wow. What a story that is, man.
And then I went to work in VFWs when I was 10, playing in bands with guys in their 60s, and it just sort of, that's
10 years old in VFWs.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how it's done.
Yeah. He started. That's Gabe on
Gabe,
the guitar
yeah.
player.
Gabe texted me last night, right as I was getting ready to go to bed, because I get up at 2:30 in the morning, and here he is, 9:30, texting me, say, "Hey, what time do you want us to come by?"
yeah. Gabe's the brains of the operation. He keeps the ship running. But yeah, that's sort of how you do it when you come from a little, town where there's not a whole lot of anything to do.
Well, you do what you do well. I will tell you that. The first two albums are killer. I've been listening to this. I've gotten the digital copy of Neon Blue.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for Joel to send me the vinyl.
Come on.
Because
twist their arm.
That's what I want, because I love vinyl, man. I'm into vinyl right now. But this album is really, really good. Who produced it?
It was co-produced by the same guys who did the last one, Jordan Lenning and Skylar Wilson.
Yeah.
Jordan produced, I think he produced a Rodney Crowell record. He produced Mr. Jukebox. Skylar and I have been friends for decades now, working with Justin Townes Earl and just being friends. And yeah, I just knew that the three of us are a good fit. Everything worked out perfectly with Mr. Jukebox, so I knew as soon as I got the word that New West wanted to put a record out, I immediately got on the horn with Skylar and Jordan, and they were in.
Yeah, they've been New West has been promoting really hard too. I mean, they even did TikToks, and you're not even on TikTok.
No.
They've got you doing TikToks now too.
I'm too old for TikTok.
I said that, but I'm on there because you kind of have to be on there these days.
There's a line must be drawn for me somewhere. I've got enough to deal with Instagram and Twitter. That's all. I get in enough trouble on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I follow you on Twitter, so
I've upset the people of Arkansas. I'm sorry.
That's okay. My native people forgive you. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to play the title track, Neon Blue. Then we're going to come back. We'll talk a little bit more, and then we'll get you guys to play something for us.
Wonderful.
All right. This is title track. It's the brand new album, Neon Blue, out on New West Records. Joshua Hedley on KHYI. Such a great. I was listening to this. I downloaded it on my phone through Play MPE, and I was listening to this for like 3 days straight when it came out. This song in particular, I just love.
This was like the first song we wrote was Down to My Last Lie, and that was just sort of. Oh no, I'm sorry. I take that back. The Last Thing in the World was the first song that me and Carson Chamberlain and Wyatt wrote together. But that was sort of just to like feel each other out and get to know each other. But this was the second song we wrote, and this was the first one where I was like, not only is this like, I was like, this has to be a good song because this is gonna be the title track to the record. I've already decided.
Yeah. Like
it's Neon Blue. That's a badass record title. So
yeah.
We better work on this one real good.
I'm telling you, it is great. It reminds me immediately, I think, Rodney Crowell when I hear this. This is something that Rodney Crowell would sing.
Yeah. I played, first time I played anything from this record for anybody, I played it for I played a little snippet of Broke Again for my downtown Nashville band, and the guitar player Kevin was like, "Oh, you made a Wade Hayes record." I was like, "Yes, exactly." He played for Wade Hayes too, so he knows.
It's such a good album. I mean, despite what you said when you came in, about it being so different, I think it still fits and still fits your sound.
Well, I'm never gonna make the same. Like the next record's not going to sound anything like this either.
Right.
So my whole thing is about exploring the different sounds of country music. So
You're doing a great job with it.
Thanks.
You really are.
So man, I might learn some of the lyrics in this thing now that it's on Spotify and I can just Dropbox. Yeah.
Joshua Hedley, that is Neon Blue. Title track of the brand new album. He happens to be live in studio, and man, I hate that we were having a conversation while this is going on, because you talked about this was the second song you wrote for the album.
yeah. This was I wrote this with two folks. A guy named Carson Chamberlain, who wrote some pretty big hits in the '90s, and he was also the steel guitarist and band leader for Keith Whitley
Wow.
for pretty much his whole, like, since they were in high school till forever.
Wow.
And we got hooked up, the three of us, Carson, me, and a guy named Wyatt McCubbin got hooked up via our mutual publishing entity. And we just clicked. We wrote Last Thing in the World together just to kind of feel each other out, and we just instantly clicked, the three of us. And so I knew pretty much right away that I was going to write the majority of this record with those two guys, if not at least with Carson for sure. And we did, the three of us, or me and Carson and a guy named Zach Top. The four of us in some form or fashion kind of wrote the bulk of this record. And when me and Wyatt and Carson sat down to write Neon Blue, I had this idea, and I kind of had a rough idea of neon blue. I was like, that sounds nice. And I was just like, all right, fellas, like, this has got to be good, because this is going to be the title track of the record. Like, I want this record to be called Neon Blue, so we got to really knock this one out of the park. Like, we got to really work on this. And then, like 25 minutes later, we had the whole song.
And I've been doing this for a long time, and that song has hit written all over it. It really does. It's such a great tune. And I was telling you while it was playing, it reminds me of early Rodney Crowell. I mean, it's such a rockin' tune.
Thanks, man. If it was 1993, I'd be retired already.
Right.
I'd have pulled a Billy Ray and cashed my first royalty check in the drive-thru at the bank.
Yeah.
They said he tried to drive through the bank with a check for like $250,000 or something, and tried to cash it in the drive-thru, and they were like, hold please. And they called the record company, and I can't remember who was in charge, but I'm like, sir, there's a man here named Billy Ray Cyrus who's trying to cash a check for $250,000. And the guy said, well, did you give him a lollipop?
That's such a great story. We also talked a little bit about so much of what you hear in Nashville these days is not country music anymore.
Not really.
Well, coming out of Main Street, but there is stuff in Nashville and in Texas, I think, that is country, like what you're doing, and what guys like Pat Green and Corey Morrow and Jack Ingram and Wade Bowen and Ray Wiley Hubbard, are all doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of us. I'm definitely not the only person putting out quote unquote real country music. I mean, there's tons of people that like nobody's ever heard of, especially people downtown, and just like there's a ton of people out there doing this. It doesn't move the dial with the record labels, so you don't really get to hear about it unless you're aware of something like New West Records or something, like Third Man, and people like Margot's really starting to. She's pushing the dial big time these days. I mean, I remember when we were sharing bills at like the 5 spot in East Nashville, which is like a 75 cap room or something.
Right, yeah.
Like,
and that's what you got to do in places like Nashville is you've got to get off the out of the tourist traps and out of Broadway
Yeah.
and get to places like the 5 spot or Family Wash or other places like that.
honestly, I think the name of the game is just play as much as humanly possible. Don't worry about like I never understood that whole like, well, I can't play in Nashville because I just played in Nashville a month ago. Like, yeah, I just played in Nashville a day ago and I'm playing again today. Like, just play as much as you can, get as good as you possibly can until they can't ignore you.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just
Sa-
go.
Same to be said here in Texas too with our Texas. I mean, there are guys who are making a living just touring Texas all the time,
Yeah.
and that's
We're
it.
Here.
That's why you're here. Well, let's put you guys to work this morning. Let's
Sure,
let's
yeah.
get you to do something. Set this up for me. Tell me about the song you're gonna do.
This is another one that I wrote with Wyatt and Carson, and it's kind of a halftime little kind of swampy. I don't know. I guess it's a love song in a way, an anti-love song. It's called "The Old Heartbroke Blues."
1, 2, 3.
Got these old heartbroken blues. There's a cowgirl on the loose. I can't help but think I was born loose. I got these old heartbroken blues. Met her one night at the Broken Spoke. She was wearing knee-high boots. Should've known better right there, right then, what that would lead me to. I got these old heartbroken blues. There's a cowgirl on the loose. I can't help but think I was born loose. I got these old heartbroken blues. I got a bottle of Jack and an old guitar and a memory on my mind. But the only song I can think to sing was calling goodbye. I got these old heartbroken blues. There's a cowgirl on the loose. I can't help but think I was born to lose. I got these old heartbroken blues. But I'm so lonesome I could cry. I feel like I could crawl off and die. I got these old heartbroken blues. There's a cowgirl on the loose. I can't help but think I was born to lose. I got these old heartbroken blues. I can't help but think I was born to lose. I got these old heartbroken blues. Old heartbroken blues.
Joshua Hedley live in studio. Man,
you.
that is. I was listening to that one on the album as well, and my ears perked up the moment I heard you say "Broken Spoke."
Yeah.
Right? Because, if you know Texas, you know Austin, man, Broken Spoke. That is
Playing there tonight.
playing there tonight.
Tonight, that's right.
That's awesome, man. So, yeah, so you are in Texas, and you are touring a little bit in Texas.
Yeah.
Going to be playing
shows.
at Broken Spoke. When are you going to be doing a show here?
We're doing an in-store on Sunday at Good Records at 1 p.m. So I don't know if it's going to be an acoustic or a full band or what the deal is, but we will be there playing songs from this record.
Full band.
Full band.
Full band. See, Gabe knows.
This is why
Gabe
I have
knows.
Gabe here.
No, I don't know. I like playing with the steel and the drums and the bass. So I've decided it's going to be full band.
So Gabe gets to decide too, right?
Yeah, that
Okay.
works.
Yeah,
So Gabe's going to set everything up for everybody too. Set up the steel and all that stuff. Set up the drum
Pretty
set.
much,
it's
yeah.
possible. Yes. I don't-
Gabe does everything.
Hey, if I get to play country music, I'll do it. So.
Did a nice job on the ride there.
Thank you much.
So you're also heading to Europe because I was telling you earlier we had actually talked with Joel. We was like, we got this big. We'd love, with the new album coming out, to have Joshua play Texas Music Revolution because
Yeah.
I thought you'd be a perfect fit for what we do down here. And he said he's in Europe,
Yeah, I'll be there just long enough to miss it.
just long enough to miss it.
Of course, that's how else could it possibly work out?
So let me ask you this: as you look on your career and into the future, what would you rather have? An album that sells 500,000 copies, or an album that inspires 5,000 people?
Honestly, here's the thing is, I've been doing this I got a fiddle when I was 8 years old. I'm 37, which means I've been doing this almost 30 years now.
Yeah.
I put out my first record 4 years ago. So I have been doing this for eons before anybody ever heard it. And I'm well prepared to do it for eons longer after nobody remembers who I am. So my motivations for doing this are, one, my innate desire and my need to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gone longer than a week without playing something. Even if I'm just at the house picking up a guitar, I gotta do something every day. I just have to do it. And then supporting myself is the other motivation. I think it's great that I get to make records and people get to hear them. I feel privileged and honored that I get to do that. But it was never something that was in the cards for me. It's never something I thought that I was going to do.
Yeah.
I just feel like, wow, this is an incredible thing that I get to do. This is something I've done my whole life, and now people get to hear it. It still feels kind of foreign to me. So the idea of making records at all is still kind of new to me. So if I can't even wrap my brain around selling that many records or inspiring that many people.
So then let me switch it up then and ask you this: Do you remember the first time you stepped on stage and you heard folks singing one of your songs back to you? That feeling?
Yeah, that was wild. I had written Weird Thought Thinker. That was the first song that I really wrote that was good, that I thought I'd like for people to hear, And I played it for Johnny Fritz, and he became obsessed with it. He loved it. And he started asking me to play it at shows. I would put my fiddle down and he would hand me the guitar, and I would sing that song at his shows. And then I did it for every show for like a week. And then I can't remember where we were, but I just remember there was like 3 people singing every word, and I was just like, what the hell how do you even know this?
Yeah.
Like, how is this possible? It wasn't on YouTube, it wasn't on anything. It was just like they had been to
Enough shows
and heard me do it enough times that they knew the song.
Wow.
And they liked it. And that's when people started like really coming up to me and being like, "Hey, do you have your own records?" I'm like, no, no, I don't.
That moment had to be surreal, though. Had to be surreal.
It was crazy. It was wild. It was like, that is not. I just kind of thought I was a sideman, you know?
Yeah.
I've fronted bands downtown, but that's different. That's like work, you know?
Right.
And I'm not singing my own songs. And I just sort of wrote that song because I had it kicking around in my head. And I was like, well, I guess I'll write it down. And then it was one of those songs that came out in like 30 seconds. You know, I just wrote the whole thing. And it just like, came out of my brain onto the page.
Wow.
And then I started performing it, and then people started singing it, and then people started asking me about my own music, and I was like, "That's it. You just heard it. That was my one song."
But that song then ended up being the song that changes your life.
It did. Yeah, it really did. That song turned into like, oh, I guess I wrote another song called "Broken Man," and then I wrote this song, and then I wrote that, and then now I got a 4-song EP that I'm selling over at shows in Australia, and like, oh, now Jack White's heard that EP, and now I have a record out on Third Man, and now I'm with New West, and like, it's just that it all came from that one song.
Wow.
Yeah.
30 seconds changed your life.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
That's how it goes. 30 seconds and 30 years.
30 seconds and 30 years of country music.
Joshua Hedley, man, it has been great getting to know you.
It's great to be here, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in, and you're welcome back anytime. Anytime you're in Dallas, just come on by. Gabe's got my number. He can hook it up.
I'll bring it there.
He can hook it up. Joshua Hedley, we're going to do Broke Again off the new album, and then we'll take a break. But check him out when you can. He's in Austin tonight doing an in-show at a record store, Good Records, on Sunday. Yeah. What time is that, do you know?
1 p.m.
1 p.m. All right. Joshua Hedley, thanks, man.
Thank you, Chuck.
I figured, what the hell? You've already said it. He can't do anything to me now, right?
That's right.
Let me get you to that liner again real quick.
Yeah.
Let me get this recording here. So, however you want to introduce yourself, and just you're waking up with Chuck Taylor on the All-Star Morning Show on 95.3 The Range.
All right. Hey, everybody. This is Joshua Hedley, and you're waking up with Chuck Taylor in the All-Star Morning Show on 95.3 The Range.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Cool.
One take, done.
I've had some people that has not been one take on.